don't think it's that way at all. He said, I think that New York is the new model for the new concentration camp, where the camp has been built by the inmates themselves, and the inmates are the guards, and they have this pride in this thing they built.
Is there an underground city only available for the rich and elite if the world ends?
People deep, so let's get into it.
The government did an experiment on 600 black men in Alabama from 1932 until 1972. Doctors intentionally infected their patients with
25th, 2007, the CIA quietly released 693 pages of their darkest secrets to the website. No announcement, no press conference, just a document dump of operations so illegal they've been hidden since 1973. The CIA...
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Huh? Yes.
Look at you.
Do something with it.
It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me always. Money coming in all day. Money coming in all paid. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly.
Is there an unfreaky video?
The government literally made it so that people think conspiracy theorists are crazy, but then the government started putting out the information that the conspiracy theorists were saying all along. And the shit that they were saying ended up being true. And like, obviously not all of it, but like stuff like the aliens and stuff like the government assassinating political leaders or like, you know what I'm saying? Like shit that just turns out to be true. But the government made it so that these are conspiracy theorists and these people are crazy. Like, what the fuck? Like, genuinely, this is why this is a joke to me. This is a fucking joke because why the fuck do they demonize people for thinking different thoughts? They're basically saying what we say is the truth. If you don't believe what we're saying, then you're crazy. If you have any other thoughts other than what we say, then you're crazy. Like, you're not credible, you're not believable because you're crazy because you don't believe what we're saying. And what we're saying is the truth. But then they come out years and years and years later and they're like, no, what those people were believing was true. Right. They believed the truth because it was the truth, but we were calling them conspiracy theorists to discredit them on purpose. Bitch.
Hey, y'all, welcome back to All Things Jenny. I'm Jenny. There's a lot of conspiracies out there. Some sound a lot crazier than others, but some come out to be true, just like the 9/11 situation. A lot of stuff that has been coming out about the tarot cards that predicts the future situations, they all were at one point considered conspiracy theory until they were not. And there's a lot of videos here that I will be sharing that seems crazy to the point where a lot of people might dismiss it, but is it really that crazy? Or do they make it seem crazy so you can look this way and not that way, right? They call a lot of people crazy for saying certain stuff is happening in the world, but is it really being crazy? Or are you just looking outside of the box and not just say, oh, I'm not going to question it because it seems crazy, and or I don't want people to think that I'm crazy. But we like to dig deep, so let's get into it.
The government did an experiment on 600 black men in Alabama from 1932 until 1972. Doctors intentionally infected their patients with syphilis or intentionally refused treatment for those that already had it. Even after penicillin became the known treatment in 1947, they still denied them care for another 25 years. These men unknowingly went on to infect their wives, their children, and their unborn babies. So babies were born with it, and this had epigenetic repercussions. These doctors who promised to care for their patients just watched as they went blind, mentally ill, and died. This isn't just a chapter in history. This didn't just destroy lives in Tuskegee. No, this rewired history, belief, and biology. And if you think that's bad, wait till you hear about what the CIA did to people in hypnosis with LSD and human experiments under the MK Ultra program. That's part 2. I'll get to that soon.
The government would never do that. Are you sure? Have you ever heard of Operation Sea Spray?
In 1950, the US Navy sprayed bacteria all over San Francisco. This is not a theory. This is not fiction. This is actual real life that you can go on the government archives and confirm. They wanted to simulate what a biological attack may look like, and they basically used US civilians as lab rats. And people got sick, some even lethally. The government didn't ask permission, and they didn't even tell the city. This, my friends, is Operation Sea Spray. The US military wanted to know if a foreign country attacked an American city with biological weapons, what would happen? So they picked San Francisco, a dense, foggy city that would make the perfect test site. But instead of using models or simulations, they released real bacteria into the air. The bacteria that they use is called Serratia marcescens. It was a reddish microbe that they believed to be harmless. Spoiler alert, it was not. Serratia marcescens can cause UTI, pneumonia, and lethal infections. They also released another bacteria called Bacillus globigii, and that mimicked. Once again, though, nobody was warned. So how did they do it? In September 1950, the Navy loaded loads of these bacteria onto a boat and sprayed them into the clouds off the coast of San Francisco. They ran a total of 6 tests in 8 days, and the fog helped the bacteria move inland. The bacteria traveled for miles, entering schools, churches, hospitals, and, of course, lungs. The entire city was exposed. And then, as you could guess, people started getting sick. Within days, 11 people were hospitalized at Stanford with very rare, hard-to-treat infections. One 75-year-old man named Edward Nevin was recovering in the hospital from surgery, and this infection was pretty much the nail in the coffin for him. And the doctors were baffled. Don't forget, nobody told the city this was happening. The doctors had never seen the strain before, and until then, there was never an outbreak of it in America. So what did they say? Nothing. There was no alert, no explanation. There was no accountability. The entire operation remained classified for over 2 decades. Families never knew why their loved ones got sick, and doctors were left guessing. It was basically a human experiment in plain sight. So why did they do it? The US was deep in Cold War paranoia. Officials believed that the Soviets would unleash germ warfare. And instead of using military models or uninhibited land, the US military decided to test it on real people without consent. And San Francisco was just the beginning. Other cities were next. After San Francisco, they tested in other locations. The New York City subways, Washington, D.C. bus terminals, army bases, schools, and airports. In total, 239 open-air biological tests were conducted between the 1940s and 1960s, all without public knowledge. Edwin Nevin's family later sued the government and lost. The courts ruled that the U.S. military could not be held liable for negligence during peacetime testing. No one was punished. The public was never compensated. And these tests remain largely unknown to most of the public. So next time somebody says, the government would never do that. Oh, yes, they would. Drop me a comment and let me know if you've ever heard of Operation Sea Spray. And if you want to hear more about secret government projects, make sure you hit that like and follow button to catch me in the next video.
Here's some weird-ass conspiracy theories that I fully believe in as someone who used to watch every single Shane Dawson conspiracy theory video growing up. Number 1 is that our phones are constantly listening to and watching us at all times. I feel like we've all had that experience where we'll talk about something that we've literally never talked about, and then 5 minutes later an ad pops up on our phone about it, which is just, it's not a coincidence. And at the same time, Shane Dawson did just make a video basically about how our phone is kind of constantly watching us, and proved this theory using like red light analysis. I don't know, but the whole thing was weird, and I 100% believe that they are both watching and listening to us through our iPhones. Number 2 is the butterfly effect, which basically means that everything we do will like alter our future. If you leave the house 10 minutes later than you were planning on, something in your future could drastically change. And I will fully believe in this. I will see stuff happen. I'll watch car accidents happen. And I'm like, damn, like if they weren't driving at this time, like that probably wouldn't happen. Just like all these different little things that happen in my life, or like if I didn't go to a specific workout class one morning, I wouldn't have met my boyfriend. Like everything affects something else in your life, and it's so crazy when you think about it. Number 3 is that I kind of think The Simpsons do somewhat predict the future. Like, I'm not saying they have a crystal ball and sit there, but it is just weird the amount of coincidences that show has happened. Like, Donald Trump becoming president, the whole submarine exploding, which is something none of us would have ever imagined. Just, like, all these little things that their show has predicted, and I'm just like, there's something going on because it's just so many coincidences. Like, it's weird. Number 4 is that aliens are 1000% real, and if you don't believe that and think that we are the only things that have ever existed in the entire universe, you are just so ignorant, I think. Like, I'm not saying that they're green little aliens walking around, but there's 1000% other life. And number 5 is that I 1000% believe in some sort of like higher society that is low-key running the world. I'm not saying it's the Illuminati or something like that, but something of the sort where people with power and money are 1000% controlling like our government and the world. I think that recently I've just been shown that money can get you anything in this world. You can grease the palms of pretty much anyone nowadays. And to think that there are not people with power and money that are low-key running everything going on, I feel like is crazy.
There's a theory that the Hoover Dam is secretly a demonic throne and that the government put angels there to cover it up. You go to the Hoover Dam, you're gonna see something really odd. There's a spot that has 2 giant winged statues made out of bronze. They look like angels, right? They are technically called the winged figures of the Republic, but this is the weird part. No one officially says what they are. They're not angels, they're not demons, they're figures. And that's not random. There's actually a floor underneath them that is a cosmic map. It shows the exact alignment of the stars the day that the dam was completed. Like they wanted like aliens or gods to find this later. You'd think it's just some like artsy little design, right? But the guy who made that design said that this is specifically supposed to last for thousands of years. Like that design was supposed to outlive our civilization. And this is where it gets a little darker. People also call this place the throne of the devil. But why would a dam need a cosmic star map and then 2 20-30-foot bronze guardians? And then all of these like occult looking type symbols. Well, get this. So over 100 workers died while building the dam. And some people do believe that their bodies were sealed into the concrete and that they were considered to be sacrifices to bless the sculpture. And then on top of all of this, the location of these statues don't really make any sense. Like, why would they have these big designs at a power plant? And if you're religious, you also have to remember Satan was originally an angel. Another crazy thing to note is that the Hoover Dam has been featured in dozens of end-of-the-world movies, disaster scenes, and games. It has always been the center of destruction and secret technology. And then it's like, is that a coincidence, or is it programming for us to see it as the key to something? Even the name Hoover comes from a president who was involved in major US power shifts, literal power and electricity. And this makes you wonder if the government is trying to hide in plain sight. Massive monuments with spiritual symbolism built into them. Government approved, celebrated, protected, and most of us never even question it. So when you pass by and you take a little selfie, you don't even realize you are standing on what some call a throne. But the question remains, a throne for who exactly? Let me know your thoughts in the comments and follow for more.
All conspiracies contain a nugget of truth. Watch this.
About your conspiracy, brother. There aren't that many conspiracy theories anymore because we found out that all conspiracy theories, there's a nugget of truth in there. It came from somewhere. That's where it became a theory. And then it progressed to the point where it became a conspiracy theory because there was something there. See, in our industry, who pays you is who tells you what narrative you're allowed to use. And I'm not paid, so I own my narrative. So if in media somebody's getting paid.
I've got one that can see.
Yo, the glitter conspiracy is deeper than you think. So
I've
get this,
heard
there are
about
only
it.
2 major manufacturers of glitter in the world, both in New Jersey. One of them, Glitterex, the other, a super secretive company that literally invented glitter and refused to talk about it. No one really thought much of it until 2018 when the world suddenly had a glitter shortage. A journalist from the New York Times tried to investigate, but when she asked Glitterex about their biggest customer, their response was chilling. She was told, "Oh, we know who it is and you would never guess. They don't want anyone knowing that it's glitter." Wait, what? What industry is using so much glitter but hiding it from the public?
Right.
Well, the theories are kind of wild. Some say it's boat paint because companies don't want people knowing how much microplastic is leaking into the ocean. Others think it's in toothpaste, meaning we're brushing our teeth with tiny bits of plastic, but the most insane theory is actually for the military. Turns out the other glitter company, Meadowbrook Inventions, was founded by a guy who worked on the Manhattan Project. Yup, the same project that created the atom bomb. And guess what? Glitter is used in radar blocking tech, fighter jets, and even classified military batteries that supposedly create more energy than anything we've ever seen. So what if glitter isn't just for arts and craft, but actually a government secret? That's crazy, isn't it? What do you think the biggest buyer of glitter is hiding? And let me know in the comments your theories. Also, if you love creepy mysteries like this, scary mysteries like this, true crime.
Go follow his channel.
On June 25th, 2007, the CIA quietly released 693 pages of their darkest secrets to the website. No announcement, no press conference, just a document dump of operations so illegal they've been hidden since 1973. The CIA called this collection their family jewels. Assassination plots, mind control experiments, journalists on CIA payroll, surveillance of hundreds of thousands of Americans who'd committed no crimes. These weren't conspiracy theories. These were real. Each page of the family jewels revealed operations approved at the highest levels, operations that violated every law meant to constrain the CIA. And taken together, they revealed something darker than isolated crimes. They told a story. The story of the family jewels is the story of the real CIA.
Yeah, you win. Thank goodness.
Truth in plain sight, even in the 90s.
What can I do? Okay, yes. We are bored. We're all bored now. But has it ever occurred to you, Wally, that the process that creates this boredom that we see in the world now may very well be a self-perpetuating, unconscious form of brainwashing created by a world totalitarian government based on money, and that all of this is much more dangerous than one thinks, and it's not just a question of individual survival, Wally, but that somebody who's bored is asleep, and somebody who's asleep will not say no? See, I keep meeting these people. I mean, just a few days ago, I met this man whom I greatly admire. He's a Swedish physicist, Gustav Bjornstrand, and he told me that he no longer watches television, he doesn't read newspapers, and he doesn't read magazines. He's completely cut them out of his life because he really does feel that we're living in some kind of Orwellian nightmare now, and that everything that you hear now contributes to turning you into a robot. And when I was at Findhorn, I met this extraordinary English tree expert who had devoted his life to saving trees. Just got back from Washington, lobbying to save the redwoods. He's 84 years old. He always travels with a backpack because he never knows where he's going to be tomorrow. And when I met him at Findhorn, he said to me, "Where are you from?" And I said, "New York." He said, "New York, yes, that's a very interesting place. Do you know a lot of New Yorkers who keep talking about the fact that they want to leave but never do?" And I said, "Oh, yes." And he said, "Why do you think they don't leave?" I gave him different banal theories. He said, "Oh, I don't think it's that way at all." He said, "I think that New York is the new model for the new concentration camp, where the camp has been built by the inmates themselves, and the inmates are the guards, and they have this pride in this thing they've built. They've built their own prison, and so they exist in a state of schizophrenia, where they are both guards and prisoners, and as a result, they no longer have, having been lobotomized, the capacity to leave the prison they've made, or to even see it as a prison." And then he went into his pocket and he took out a seed for a tree and he said, "This is a pine tree." He put it in my hand and he said, "Escape before it's too late." See, actually for 2 or 3 years now, Chiquita and I have had this very unpleasant feeling that we really should get out. And we really should feel like Jews in Germany in the late 30s. Get out of here. course, the problem is where to go, because it seems quite obvious that the whole world is going in the same direction. See, I think it's quite possible that the 1960s represented the last burst of the human being before he was extinguished, and that this is the beginning of the rest of the future now, that from now on there'll simply be all these robots walking around, feeling nothing, thinking nothing, and there'll be nobody left almost to remind them that there once was a species called a human being, with feelings and thoughts, and that history and memory are right now being erased, and soon nobody will really remember that life existed on the planet.
So there's something that has occurred to me over the weekend after this meeting between Trump and Putin, and something that's kind of been like gnawing at me that like doesn't sit quite right, and I'm really curious. And this is not a, you know, going after MAGA, going after Trump, just like homeland security type question. And here's where my thoughts going. I get we met in Alaska. It's definitely, you know, the closest proximity to Russia, and people have been making all these comments about how Trump's going to sell Alaska to Russia, yada yada. That's not the point. What I'm thinking is that we took this individual who at one point was a highly successful Russian spy, now the president of Russia, and flew him right into one of our military bases. And I didn't see any sort of pat down, plane inspection. I didn't see anything along the lines or hear any discussion of anything that would be preventing risk for the United States. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I'm too going down this conspiracy theory avenue, but it didn't sit well with me. And the more I think about it, the more concerned I get.
Like I said, we're going to touch up some stuff on this book. So in this book is called Spell of Abundance, Love, Wealth, and Protection. So in this book, on the first page, actually, I have a glamour affirmation that you will basically say, you stand in front of the mirror and you stare at yourself and you admire yourself, and you will say to yourself how beautiful you are. You'll basically seal this your beauty, like your glam, after you've done your makeup, or even stand in front of the mirror naked with nothing on, so you can really reaffirm yourself of your beauty, of your confidence, and all that. This book is mainly for like self-confidence and self-elevation, you know, calling the goddess in you, calling the divinity in you, you know, calling the beauty in you. And also work with the moon, because the moon represents the woman, the mother, womb, water, all of this. So yeah, I have all the steps in here of all the spells that you need to do. It even has one for to get rid of unwanted guests. It's pretty funny. To get rid of unwanted guests. And this book right here, right? So I'm gonna run down real quick of all the materials that you're going to need. You will need a brand new broom. It has to be brand new. And you'll need a piece of parchment paper, a black pen, a black trash bag, because we're going to get rid of this sucker, right? And of course your intentions. And also I have spells on here that you can say. I have daily affirmations. And also I have spells on here that you can do every single day to work with the energy of the planets of the day, and also the archangels that work with the day. So anyways, there's so many spells. There's a 7-day manifestation spell with archangels. And let's see. A 30-day money spell with bay leaves and the Fihu sign, which is a money sign. It's like an F with the extra part. Anyways, the symbol's there, and I even show you like what you need to do, what the sigil look like, all that. And the keys to enhance your spell. So there are different things on here on how to enhance your spell and basically grow your finance, grow your love, self-love, self-admiration, chance to say to yourself to give you that extra energy to go about your day. And also tips to enhance your spell. Oh, I already said this. And morning coffee, abundance, prosperity spell. You guys remember I just shared a video about morning coffee and how important it is when it comes to hoodoo, and how you can basically use your first cup of coffee in the morning to manifest a better life or a better day, or to bring forth money to you. So don't let, you know, you're already doing these things anyway, so you might as well just incorporate something a little bit extra to basically boost your thing. And here's a to influence your boss spell. So this one, I'm sure people who are actually working are going to love this. It's to influence your boss and attract favors towards you at work. Because look, in this economy, we're all working and we need some boost at work, and we also sometimes need to be tied to our job, so therefore you don't get fired. You know what I mean? So there's some stuff that you could do to basically tie yourself to your job, and or tie the job to you. And once you're done and you're all tired of that job, you can get rid of it. It's not something that's completely permanent, but use magic, guys. It's here for you to use. You have the herbs in your closet, you have the herbs in your pantry, you have the candles that you could just simply buy some candles super cheap. Use magic to elevate your life. Use magic to make yourself better. Let me tell you, Jesus was out here using magic, okay? Walking on water and stuff and turning water into wine. Sounds like magic to me. But anyways, guys, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.